Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to start putting my journal together. I don't know how far I'll get today, how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to make a start. Now I'm going to use a no-sew journaling binding system that I saw Natasha at Treasure Books do, and I thought it was a great idea and I haven't done it before and I'm going to try it. Okay, so to start off with, I've got 3 signatures. There they are there. So I have printed, you need a cover page for each one. Now I could have used the pages that I've already got here, but I have printed them both sides and I like them on there as they are. So I've printed 3 pages and I've printed it on 200 GSM cardstock, so it's a bit sturdier than these pages. These pages are on 120 GSM paper. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is fold out. These are going to be covers for the journal, for each signature. So we have to fold these to go around the outside of our signature. So instead of folding it that way, so we've got our pretty on the outside. Normally when we're doing a page we'd fold it that way. We have to fold, no, we'd fold it that way. We have to fold it so that the pretty stuff is on the inside and we've got our blank page on the outside, because you won't see this outside. Now, I want to try and make sure that I get it perfect. Yeah, not too bad. Okay, so that's one. So these actual 3 pages that I'm using are a freebie that I've got over on my Ko-fi. So if you're interested, you could pop over and get the freebie. They do go perfectly well with the Delightful Daisies kit that I've been using throughout this journal. Okay. Right, so there we have our 3 covers. So let's put our signatures in there. Now I'm going to line these up because all of my pages, well not all, but a lot of them are different sizes. I've got A4 sizes, which all line up perfectly. And then I've got some smaller ones and I've got some bigger ones. Now, they don't have to be lined up perfectly in the centre, but they do have to, the ones that are the same size, I do want them to line up. So I want my A4s to sit level. This one is taller than A4, so I'm going to sit that in about the centre. This one is an A4, so is the one with it. Oh, they're separate. So I'm going to position them. This one's slightly smaller. You might be able to see that. Take that one out of the way. You can see it's just a little fraction shorter, and this one is an A3 one, so that can fit in there like that. An envelope, I'll put that about middle. This is an A4, so line that up with the other A4s. This one is a music book, so that's bigger, and that's the same size as that other tall one there. This is pianola paper, so that's smaller again. And then we've got an A4. I don't remember how many pages I've put in each signature. I'm going to come down a fraction. And then this one is an A4. And this one is an A4. And then this one is an A4. Okay. So, I'm going to put a big clip on that so that they stay in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing for these other two signatures, and I don't think you need to watch me do that. Okay, I've got them sorted now. Now Natasha did a binding, like she joined her signature together using 3 different methods: stapling, wrapping and 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I was going to do the wrapping style of binding because I have never done it before and I thought I'd try it. But because I have got these pages that stick up a bit above the others, and they're only paper, they're not cardstock, so they're like music book paper, and I reckon with the wrapping I'll damage those. So I'm going to go with the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I have got a stapler that I could staple it with, but I've got, I think it's 16 pages plus the cover, so that's 17 pages. So that's quite a thick signature for a staple. So I'm going to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Now I will do one on video so that you can see how I do it. But then I'll do the other 2 off camera because, you know, once you've seen it, you don't need to sit through it 3 times. So I'm going to try and push that in as far as I can, so I've got it really nicely back, and then I'm going to clip this into place. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. So I'm really pushing that into the crease there because I want that to be perfectly lined up. You can use lots of different sorts of clips on here. You could use one of these bigger bulldog clips, whatever you like. Okay, so there we have our signature. All of the creases are pushed in as firmly as I can get them. Now I'm going to punch my holes. Now you can be pedantic and measure this and, you know, middle then so, but should I do that? Well, I might do that because I probably want all 3 to be the same. So let's measure. I'm just going to go from the A4 page. I'm going to measure that. So halfway on that is what? 4 1/8. So there. And then I'm just going to come in 3/4 of an inch on both edges. 1, 2, 3/4 of an inch. There we go. So I've just put little dots there. Now, you get your best results, in my opinion, if you keep your signature folded in a V like this, and then you press straight down with your awl. Because my signatures are quite thick, it is quite a job to get them pushed through. But there we go. Hopefully they've come out right on the fold. I think they have. So I find that by by having that in a V, you've got more chance of that coming out on the fold, which is what you want. Okay, now I have got this leather, waxed leather cord. It's very fine, it's 0.45 of a millimetre, and I'm going to use that. I haven't used it before, and I'm wondering whether I should double it up. I think I will, just to be on the safe side. So I usually allow 3 times the length of my signature, so I'm going to do 6 times. I'll have plenty left over, you know, I won't be short. And now I'll fold that in half and try and thread both of those. Well, I won't have any trouble threading both of those through my needle, because my needle's got a huge eye. I just use normal darning needles. I haven't got a special needle. Let's thread that through there. I'm going to just, oh no, I won't tie a knot in that because it'll make it hard to get through the holes. Okay, now I want my threads to come out the back. So I'm going to start from the back and go through. And keep one end, pull the other end out. I'm going to just put that in there because I don't want to pull it through. And then, oh, nearly pulled it right out. Oh, what's going on here? This was probably not such a great idea, to be honest. I don't know. Anyway, let's continue on. Got that twisted around my needle. I don't know. I've got no idea what I've done there. Right, so let's try and move on. Okay. Now I'm just going to go through this hole. Pull that firmly. Bring down to the bottom or to the top, whichever one it is. And through this hole. Can lose your hole a bit. There we go. And then back through the centre. Get the needle on the opposite side of the thread to the original thread, and make sure we've got that nice and tight. I can take that out of there now. Pull this nice and firmly. So check that we've got it nicely pulled there, and we've got. No, we haven't. Yes, we have. We've got it on either side of that centre. And now I'm going to tie a knot. Check that it's tight before I... did left over right, now I'm going to do right over left. Put that through there and pull nice and firmly. Cut that off. Now, I saw Natasha do this and I'm not quite sure what happens next, to be honest. Did that go under there? That one goes under there. I'll try another knot anyway, just to be on the very safe side. Okay, now I'm going to cut these off. And I'm going to stick these down. I'm just going to grab some masking tape. Okay, I've got some masking tape here. I'm going to stick it down there. I might just to be on the safe side so nothing happens, I'm going to add some glue as well. I'm going to put that on there, just to keep that in place. I mean, it's not going to be seen, it's going to be on the inside, so I'm just doing this for neatness sake more than anything else. I'm going to do the same on here. Put that down there. And that's just what I didn't want to happen. Got a little bit of a bump there. Just straighten that out. And fold that down. And burnish that into place. Actually, I might just pop some glue under there. Like so. Alright, so there we have our signature all put together, nice and tidy and neat and ready to go. And we've got our cover on it as well. Now I'm going to go and do that for these two as well. Okay, so I've bound all of those together, so each of my signatures is now held together. And I have numbered them, 1, 2, 3, and I've put arrows so that I know I've got them the right way up. I might just check that, yes. Yep. Yep. Yes. Alright, so now we're going to join our signatures together. This is pretty, well, this could be a bit tricky because it has to be perfect, which is not something that we necessarily aim for in junk journaling, but in this particular case it needs to be. Now, we need to leave probably about that much. So what's that, about 3/4 of an inch, I'd say. Just draw a bit of a line down there and a bit of a line down there. And we're going to glue the rest of this together like that. and we're going to have to make sure that they are perfectly aligned when they're glued. Okay, so let's, might use this Boyle's glue. Now this one is an EVA glue, and it does give me a little bit of wriggle room. Not a great deal, but some. Now we want to try and make sure we get pretty close to the edge, because we don't want any gaping. And we're only going up to here. I will put a link to Natasha's video down in the description box if you want to go and check out her video. If I haven't made anything clear enough, or you just want to check out the original, go and have a look anyway. She made heaps of them. Now, we want to line this up like that. I hope I haven't got my head in the thing. Line the top up, line this edge up, along here and along there, and make sure we have got that nicely lined up. Now this is where we want it to be perfect. If it's not perfect, it's going to be, you know, you'll see your edges and things. Now let's have a look on this side. Yep, looks pretty good on that side, looks good on that side. Now I want to try and press this together without moving those pages. I don't want to misalign it now. I just realised that these are going to be the only pages in the journal that are not stitched around, but that's not going to matter. So I'm burnishing that down. So that it's all perfectly stuck. Okay, now I'm just going to let that dry for a few minutes, and then I'll be back and we'll do, oh well, actually, yeah, I'll let it dry and then we'll be back, and then we'll stick the second one, the third signature, onto the back of the second one. Okay, I'm going to say that's dry enough. That Boyle's glue doesn't take long to dry. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave about 3/4 of an inch, so a bit of a line down there. I'm not going to put any glue, and about the same down here, just roughly, doesn't have to be exact. And now I'm going to add the glue to this. You can add glue to both sides if you want to, depends what glue you're using. Make sure we're getting plenty on there. We want it to stick firmly, we don't want it coming apart, because it is what is holding our journal together. Once again, we're going to have to try and line this up, and we want to line it up as best we can. So I'm going to line that and that up and make sure it's lined up perfectly. Right, I'm going to put this under something heavy. Okay, so this has been under a heavy weight overnight. It's the next day now. So now I've cut up this piece of fabric, which is what I'm going to use for my cover and my spine. Now I've cut it 3 inches wide, and I'm starting to think that may be a little bit too narrow, but I'm going to go with it anyway. So you do not put glue on that section of your cover. So I've marked that on both sides. Now I want to know how far to bring my glue out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this over my spine. You need to press your spine gently, I guess you'd say. You don't want to mash it down so that it can't move, but you don't want it too loose either. So I'm just compressing it a fraction, and I'm going to mark, have I got that about level? Come towards the front a little more. How's that? It's pretty good. So I'm going to mark that there and there, and that's where I'm going to apply my glue, between those two lines. So you can see I have got a bit more on this side than I have on the other side, haven't I? Or have I? Let's have a look. So that's about 1.25 inches, and that's about 1 inch, so near enough. Alright, so I'm going to use fabric glue for this, and I'm only going to put it between those two lines. Alright, so not up close to the edge. Let's try and position this about centrally, like so. I got that about centrally, I think. Oops. Just give that a minute to grab on there. Then I will compress that a little. Put that over like that. Now, I believe that this is where the fine line comes in. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want it too loose either, so bring that line all down there like that. So there's not really a great deal of glue grabbing on this side, is there? I may have overdone this side a bit. Okay. Right, well, let's go. So, I'm gluing right to the edge of the height, like the top and the bottom, not to the spine edge. Okay, so we're leaving that loose. The actual covers will go on top of this and help to hold it in place. So now let's pull this over here, remembering that we don't want to compress too much, but we don't want it to be too loose either. So there we go. Alright, so I'm going to leave that to dry for a while, and I'm going to start work on my covers. Now I'm using some chipboard for this, and I need to mark how big I want my covers. So let's say I'm going to come from about there. So, yeah. And I want it to come out to the edge here. So even, I don't mind if it's even a little bit wider. So let's say that. And I want to make sure I cover the height. So I'm going to come down to there. I don't know whether you can see that, but I've got that level with the top, and I'm just marking here, just level with this longest piece of paper. So I'm going to take this to my rotary cutter and cut it, because I'll get a better cut, and I'll cut two of them exactly the same. I'll cut the first one and then I'll measure it and make sure it fits, and then I'll do the second one. Okay, so I've cut two, and that is going to fit on there like that. So that is pretty good. Pretty good. Drop that down a fraction and in a fraction. I can come in this way as much as I like, but I want them to cover all of those pages. And the same, this one's the same. I suppose I should measure it on the back, shouldn't I? Yep. Okay, this one will be the back, and this one will be the front. They should be exactly the same. Alright, so now I'm going to use this same fabric to cover these, so I need to go and cut that up and decide if I'm going to use double-sided interfacing to iron it on, or whether I'm going to use glue. But at this stage I'm thinking that I'll probably use interfacing, because I don't really want the glue to show. So this is the fabric, and I don't think I've got enough to do the back and the front. Yes, I have. Yep, I have. So I'll do both. I was going to I've got some plain, this same plain. This fabric is in my Etsy shop. I'm not sure how many pieces I've got left, but yeah, it's in there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put some double-sided interfacing on this, so it's iron on, and then iron that onto here, and then I'll come back, I'll cut it so it's about 1 inch around, and then I'll come back and we'll finish it off. Okay, so I just thought I'd show you what I'm doing. This is the back, that's the front. So I've ironed on, I don't know whether you can see it or not, I've ironed on some double-sided interfacing, and I've cut my fabric down so it is about 1 inch bigger all round. Okay, now I'm going to peel this interfacing, the backing of the interfacing off. And that should be sticky, doesn't feel it. And I'm going to iron that onto there. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the front. Now, once again, I'm going to try and have the same amount up here and down here, so that it's this gold embroidery is in the centre of my covers. So I'll go and do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've ironed them on, and you can see it gives a beautiful finish, nice, smooth, no no creases, no nothing. So now I'm going to fold my edges over, and to do that I have to cut my corners off, and I bought this little gadget from Temu, and you can see all about it in my latest haul video. And I'm just going to cut that off across there. Perhaps I'd be better off if I marked it and then cut it so I can actually see where I need to cut. Okay. So again, mark it. Now, I nearly got caught. I nearly ironed one on upside down, so I mean inside out. So if you're going to do this and you've got a pattern, make sure that you have got the same pattern on the outside as you have on your spine, because even though this looks the same, it's not. So see there, see how that's different? So this is the, I'm going to call this the back, and that way is the front. So I nearly ironed one upside down, so that was a close call. Okay, so cut my corners now that I've marked them all. Very awkward. Okay, so now I'm going to use my fabric glue, and I'm going to start with my long edges, and I'm going to glue them over. I'm going to take my glue right up to the edge because I want to make sure it grips. If I was using paper, I'd actually run some glue down onto the paper so it gets right on the edge of that cardboard, but I'm not going to do that with fabric because I don't want to run the risk of it looking or seeing the glue on the inside. Fold that over and smooth it down. Make sure we've got a nice firm fold over that edge. I'll put that excess glue there. Okay, now I'm going to do the same for this side. You can use whatever you like for your cover. Now you might prefer to use cereal box or something like that. Natasha used cereal box for hers, but she used a double layer of cereal box. We don't eat cereal in our house, so I don't have that. But I mean, there's other, you can use other boxes as well. You don't just have to use cereal boxes. This has to come over, so I'm just going to fold that little edge in a bit and then fold that over like that. Okay, so that's going to fold in, and then that's going to fold up like that, and the same on the other side. So let's add our glue right up to the edge. Okay, so tuck our little corner in and fold that one over. And tuck this little corner in. Tuck that in, fold that over. Tuck that in, fold that over. Make sure we've got it coming firmly around the edge. I'll put some more glue down here because I want to make sure that that's well stuck. I'm not worried about the glue showing through the fabric here because of course that's going to be on the inside, but I do want to make sure that it's well attached. Now we'll do this end. Okay, so that gives us our cover, front cover and back cover are done exactly the same, so you don't need to watch me do the second one. I will go off and do that, and when I've got it sorted I'll be back. Okay, so these are nice and dry now. It has been a couple of hours since I did them, so they're all sorted. So they're our two covers, front and back. Now, now's the time when you need to think about if you're going to put anything on your front cover or back cover. And I was thinking about putting a book plate, but when I actually had a look at it, so something like that, or I had this gold one that was actually a brooch that I would get my husband to cut the back off, that got too lost on there. This one I wasn't that keen on, and then I had this one as well that could go on there, and then I'd cover that with paper and put something in it. But then I thought, well, then I'm going to lose the goldness of it, so I've decided not to put a book plate on it. But I do need to put my closure on, and I'm going to use this sari silk for my closure, so I'm just going to use a tie closure. So I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to now, they're pretty much exactly the same, pretty much perfectly the same. It doesn't really matter which one's which, so let's just turn them over, and we're going to attach our closure to this, to the inside of our. Now we need to decide which side. I think I like that side the best, so I'm going to make that the outside. I'm going to put some glue on here. Oh, should I find about, that's 9 inches, so how wide is this? About 1 inch, so 4.5, so that's about in the middle. 4, 5, so there. So now I'm going to put some glue in here. I'm going to take it right to the edge. And I'm going to, which side did I want? I'm going to have that side for the, outside. Yep. So I'm going to attach that down onto that, and put that like so. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. Now I'm going to put some tape over that. So let me just grab my masking tape. Okay, so here's some masking tape. I'm going to just use my normal sticky. There. And down there. Where's my bone folder? I think I'm going to put a bit on here as well. Just an extra bit of reinforcing because I don't want this to pull out at all. Okay. Now I'll do the same for this one. Okay. So there we have our two covers with our tie closures. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach these to our journal. So we're going to use this cover page to attach those. So this will go on here like so. Will be like that. And we want to make sure that we get it exactly where we want it. So I think the best way to do that is if I cover this with glue and then position that on top of it. So I'm going to use, I don't know, I think I might use my art glitter glue because I know that that works well with paper and fabric. So I'm going to start off with that. Well, I will start off with it when I can get it to work. Now I don't know how far over this way I want to go, so I'm just going to go this far, and then I'll put a row of glue on the edge of my cover. So you can see I'm putting plenty of glue on. Once again, I don't want it to come off. Now, I'm going to put glue along here. Oh, a little cap is coming off. Let's see. There's plenty of glue there. Now, let's line this up. So it is level with the outside, about there, a little bit out, and level with the top and bottom of my book. That looks pretty good. So let's open that. I'm going to hold that up like that and burnish this down. I did not want to get any glue onto my fabric, and I have. So that is where the bottom of the cover catches onto the spine fabric, so I do need to have that grab. So I'm just going to hold that like that for a minute and let that glue grab, and then I'll be back. Okay, so that is stuck on there now. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the back cover. You probably don't need to watch me do that. So I'm going to do it exactly the same way that I did the front one. I'm going to cover this with glue, put a row of glue down here, and then line this up so that it matches perfectly with my front cover, and then put it under some heavy weights to let it dry for 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to use my art glitter glue once again for that. So I'll go off and do that, and then when that's all dry, I'll be back. Okay, so they're all stuck on now, so I'm pretty happy with that. So all of my pages are in, my spine is done, and we've got a front and back cover on there. So now what I have to do is trim this off so that it's level with the top and the bottom. So this could be a disaster. I'll try using these. So I'm going to cut that off first, so I'm not dealing with all that bulk. So now I want to trim that to the top of those pages. Okay, it's not too bad, not too bad. Now I'll do the same for the bottom. I'll cut that off a bit first. The other way, stand it up this way, and then cut around there. It's pretty nerve-wracking after all the effort we've gone to get our covers and everything on there. One slip and I could mess the whole thing up. Okay, so going to spray that out there a little bit. Okay, so that's like that, and the bottom I'll even that up as well. Okay, right, now let's have a look. This is our top. Have I got it the right way up? Yes. Right. Now, so there we go. We've got our cover on and we've got our spine on. We've got a hard fabric cover and we've got it all attached and sitting nicely. So this all sits nice and flat, doesn't matter where you open it to. Perfect. Perfection. Okay, now you can also open this all the way around. Not that you'd want to, but you can. So yes, lovely. So as I said, that's the first time I have tried this system of binding, and yeah, I like it. I'm pretty happy with this cover. I love this fabric. I've been wanting to make a journal with this fabric ever since I got it, and I've had it for a few years, couple of years. So now it's done, and I'm very happy with it. Alright, so that's our video for today. My next video, I am going to start working on the inside of the journal. I have made lots of embellishments and I've done videos of most of them. So I've got those to put in here. So the next video we'll add those to our journals and we'll decide what else we need to do in our journal. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this. I actually got a bit hot doing this, so it was a bit intense. I was scared that I was going to mess it up once I got to the final stages, but I'm pretty happy with the way it's turned out. So that's it for me. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you can join me when I post my next video. Okay, bye.